Hidden sci-fi B-movie gems that people neglect just because they have a low budget. While science fiction movies on the street can influence people with their fantastic special effects and creative storylines, people often ignore a variety of science fiction films that have been created just as thoughtful and entertaining. Over the years, this video shows you a few hidden gems that were created in the 80s and 90s that were just as great, but were neglected due to their low budget. Before we go on our list, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click from you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Let's start Nemesis 1992. In a futuristic setting, the concept of illegal androids thrives as criminals improve their skills with cybernetic components. They claim that these make them something more than human. Alex Rain is a cyborg LAPD bounty hunter. He is attacked by a group of cyborg freedom fighters who call themselves the Hammerheads of the Red Army during a mission. While their leader Rosarita almost kills Alex, they also claim that he is a mindless robot, since the most of him is still a human being. Alex questions his lifestyle and decides to leave the troop, but his former boss Farnsworth insists that he fulfills, in which he pursues his former lover Jared, who has come into possession of important information and needs to be stopped. Before Alex passes it on to the Hammerheads, Alex then learns the truth about who he works for. Albert Pion's Nemesis presents viewers with an exciting combination that is often seen, but not appreciated enough. It is full of thought-provoking ideas, packed into a hardcore action thriller. The concept that there will be a fine line between identifying the difference between humans and cyborgs in the future allows writers Rebecca Charles and Albert Pion to convey extreme paranoia to the audience. The film may be low budget, but the special effects are top-notch and contain a melancholy basic mood, which is expressed by Michel Robini's plaintive music score. Not to mention that this B-sci-fi flick also meant a big step forward in the film industry for former kickboxing champion Olivier Greener, who plays the protagonist Alex. The film shows cyberpunk images, while viewers can see Alex's cybernetic implants. Everything in the film, right down to his filming in the ruins of Los Angeles. It contains a neo-noir atmosphere that very few filmmakers can successfully integrate into science fiction films, but Albert Pion blew the audience away with this split second in 1992. After most of the polar caps melted due to global warming in 2008, the world is suffering from terrible floods everywhere. London, unfortunately, was hit the hardest. Now the feet have sunk into the water. In this chaos lies a new killer who is unnaturally relentless and unstoppable. The policeman Harley Stone swears to bring down the serial killer since he killed his partner. With a new partner, Stone has to find his girlfriend, who was also kidnapped by the same killer. But when the two finally find him, they are unprepared for what they see in a split-second. Director Tony Malum and Ian Sharp have all the makings of a cult favorite. It's a brisk action science fiction buddy cop movie combined with tech noir. Not to mention the protagonist Rutger Hauer, who plays Harley Stone and who doesn't like to see him. Although Malum and Sharp have a tight budget, they put together a number of memorable characters, exciting action sequences and suspense on the edge of the seat when it came to the serial killer. In addition, the film did not save any production value when shooting in a wide variety of locations, from the London necropolis to rat-infested sewers. They all have the perfect mood for a policeman and an extraordinary futuristic villain to have their showdown. Interestingly, the original script of the film Pentagram by Gary Scott Thompson was about a serial killer, but not quite the guy who was shown in a split second. This script had a ritual occult atmosphere rather than science fiction, but Challenge Films came in and commissioned Malum and Sharp to direct the film, which Thompson considered rewriting. At this point, the buddy cop concept of the film was also integrated, which was not there at first. Get his brain out. Saturn 3.1980. In a futuristic world, scientists are working on growing food and finding shelter for the starving and overpopulated Earth. On one of Saturn's moons, two scientists who are also lovers are working on growing food. Their isolation is disrupted when a deranged technocrat from Earth appears along with his cunning robot. When he transfers his insane murder tendencies to his robot, it develops its own murderous mind, the endangering everyone. Stanley Donen's Saturn. The 3rd of May seem like a movie about two lovers in a disturbed world where one of them is replaced by a robot. But if viewers look deeper, they will find that it is so much more that it is very obvious that the filmmakers certainly have a penchant for ambiguous storylines, unlike most low-budget sci-fi movies which are just projects waiting to be completed. Donen and his crew have made immense efforts to build Saturn III. The film contains a more than reasonable plot, representing intense science fiction horror, but one should not disregard the romantic subplot. By the way, although it has its effective special effects, average acting and lousy comic moments. The final product is still quite entertaining. The Blood of Heroes 1989. In a barren post-apocalyptic world, most of the survivors and inhabitants of this world live in ruins for lack of entertainment. There is a sport called the game, which is a brutal version of football. The teams that play it are called pitchers. These players earn their living from the tribute that the townspeople pay. Salo is a former player of the sport from a team from one of the 9 cities where they are a group of people. Everyone who lives underground and has their own pitchers for the sport known as League. Salo has been asked to withdraw from the team due to his escapades with the daughter of an overlord. He is inspired by Kita, a peasant girl who joins the team, and together they challenge the League and Fall redeems his name. This film by David Peoples is a successful and unique film of its kind. It contains an entertaining and slender variation of the post-apocalyptic premise, combined with an adventure thriller that reflects the dark age of the past. His cinematography shows dry landscapes without foliage. George Miller's Road Warriors inspired the premise of the film, but the tone of the two films is completely different on the big screen. David Peoples has successfully masked the visceral nature of sports. This great film has very little dialogue. Instead, the performance and behavior of the character are the drive. It is a science fiction gem that never received recognition. In 1989, after the destruction of the Earth by natural disasters in the future, Tasker and Belitsky catch a fugitive. Matt Owen, a small arms dealer, tries to kidnap the fugitive from Tasker and Belitsky, who are in reality law enforcement officers. He does this so that he can claim the reward for himself, but when he tries to escape, he is shot by Belitsky, and without him realizing it, the arrow with which he is hit contains a tracking device. Now the two law enforcement officers can track his every move. First and foremost, Steven Lisberger's Slipstream attracts the attention of the audience with its ensemble cast of Mark Hamill, Kitty Aldridge and Bill Paxton, and is underestimated due to its low budget. Viewers also feel that the plot does not flow through the story very coherently. Despite its low-budget quirks of chaotic dialogues and effective editing, the film is filled with a huge number of delightful ideas. Unfortunately, they were not fully executed due to some problems related to the production. However, this production by Gary Kurtz has a certain charm that viewers cannot deny. No matter how unintentionally funny it may seem, the places used in the film were out of this world. If you use real airplanes flying around everywhere, overall, this movie might be underestimated, but it's certainly not one that should be neglected in 1984 in a gloomy future of the 23rd century. Jack Death is a police officer on the hunt for Martin Whistler, an evil psychic mastermind who uses his powers to turn people into zombie-like creatures called transfers. Before he gets caught, Whistler escapes via a drug-induced time travel technique and travels to the past, where he finds himself in 1980s Los Angeles. When he finds out what Whistler did, Death continues his mission to bring him down. This movie, directed by Charles Band, staged and produced, contains smart, quirky comic ideas. That there are a few buddy cops. There are stereotypes like Los Angeles in a sunken form and hardcore cops and villains chasing through time travel. The popular opinion is that Transfers is one of the best science fiction movies ever made and managed to gain a huge cult following in a short time. While watching, viewers will immediately appreciate the efficient directing style of Charles Band, which is smooth and ruthless. This perfectly complements the script by Paul DeMeo and Danny Bilson, in which the dialogues are clearly presented. In addition, the television star of the 1960s, Michael Stefani, blew the audience away with his performance on his debut. That's all the time we had for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. It would be great if you could take some time to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to let us know what topic you would like to cover in the comments. I wish you a fantastic day and stay healthy.